um, on-demand gig app situation at first. That's how I thought of it, was like an on-demand gig app. And I tried to build it out at first like a Uber type of thing. But then I quickly saw that it was not going to be any success in that type of structure. And so I decided to do something a little different, to where I would bring folks onto the platform and then meet them virtually, and introduce myself, explain to them about K&M hauling and distribution. We started in 2013 as a courier company. It was myself just me and myself, just out doing deliveries. I had a major account with IKEA, and I used to work 7 days a week, get down there early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, load out, be out on the road by 7, wouldn't get home until 7 o'clock at night. And, that was tiring, and then I ended up, with fortitude, and sheer iron will, I was able to build that out into a 10 vehicle fleet, into a multi-million-dollar a year business. And, I felt it was really successful. But at the time, I didn't realize that I didn't build good relationships with the people who are in the power structure of the company. And so when the leadership changed guard, I was pretty left. I was left without a contract. So I ended up going my separate ways from IKEA, and then I went on to do some other things with a company by the name of Axel Hire, does HelloFresh and Farmer's Dog and all of that stuff. And I was doing that, and I had a few cargo vans. Was good, successful with that. Then I had a dock here in Northern California, in Woodland, California, where close to Sacramento Valley, and I had a couple trucks running out of that dock. And I had some young men that was on the truck. We were not too far from age, but their driver's record was just terrible. And then they were going out and they got in some wrecks and stuff like that. And then that, the liability just was too great. And I was like, man, it has to be a better way. And so, make a long story short, I ended up parting ways from that situation, losing a lot of money in that. But, that happens in entrepreneurship. And then I came across and partnered with a software company, developing out of Orlando, Florida, by the name of OneRail. And so I teamed up with them when they were just in their first beginning stages of their company, and they had actually started as a courier company as well and experienced the same things that I experienced. And they were like, we got to do it a better way as well. So they had developed this software, this technology, which was already invented. It was already there. They just enhanced it and brought it over to the final mile. It was already being utilized by Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, and Instacart. There was no companies like mine that were doing the on-demand delivery, like final mile, delivering that type of stuff at that moment. It was all 3PL brick and mortar type of a scenario. And, as a reliable logistics service, I was like, well, I see something here. I go, well, they told me about the launch. It's going to go nationwide. They were launching in June of 2023. And I was like, okay, it's after COVID, and people were excited about getting back into the real life and getting the swing of things. And so I was like, okay, I can team up with a bunch of owner operators nationwide, and then I can have vehicles of my own in my own jurisdiction and just, keep it at a minimum, but have the fleet built by other people with their own vehicles. And so that was my intent. And I had great intentions with that, and so when I launched it in June of 2023, I hit the ground running. And we quickly were able to recruit about 2,500 people in like a short period of time. And then in a 3-month period of time, actually. And then we quickly got it up to 5,000 people. But, in this industry of on-demand delivery, people come and go. So you'll get people that'll sign up. They'll do a few deliveries, stay for a month or a week, whatever, and then they'll disappear. And so my strategy, I thought at the time, would be replenish, just keep on bringing people in as much as possible. And I was trying to run as fast as I can to get to hopefully to 20,000 people, and then, leverage that to go further, but it didn't happen in time. So, and the reason why it didn't happen in time, I mean, by saying that is, we were well on our way, but unbeknownst to me, AI was going to come into the picture, artificial intelligence. And then, Chat GPT hit, all of that stuff was going. That actually, I utilized it to get the contract with OneRail and all that stuff. But then I didn't realize that as AI was going to get more enhanced, that they were going to actually implement it into the on-demand part of the business. And so, having these people get on the platform, and at the time, OneRail was sending so many deliveries to us, it just didn't make any logical sense. I didn't know why they were sending so many deliveries to us, because we actually had a database of 5,000, but we only had actually 100 to 200 people active at any given day. So they were sending 6,000 deliveries over to us, and it just didn't, it's like, well, that don't make sense. That seems like that's a waste of data and time. So these I didn't know that they were actually gearing up to implement what they just did last week. Let me back up first. So we had these folks, a bunch of folks getting on, and we would assign them deliveries. They would reject it. They would be 5 miles away from the delivery, but they would reject the delivery. And I was like, well, why would you reject revenue that's coming to you? And so it just didn't make any sense. We just lived in a weird country. It's just the paradigm is weird. So, I said, well, I got to do something to try to get these folks to understand that this stuff is serious, because, it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars for this app to run. And there's people who got paid salaries that were $120,000 a year, $150,000 to go out and get these accounts to bring free jobs to people who are signing up on this platform. And in our society, we think, because we don't know behind the back office, we're just thinking, hey, these are just deliveries. They come and go. I reject it. I don't. And so for a while, it was okay with the big national retailers. But now it's not. And because our economy is tightening up, and the logistics sector has seen a 50% drop in business off of the port of entry, things are tightening up. So, last week they implemented an artificial intelligence analytics. And so what that happened is now it's based upon ranking. It's a ranking scenario now. And so it rewards the platform with the highest completion ratio. So I actually, I had to revamp my strategies this week by itself, because I no longer can have people with sedans on the platform anymore. Because if you have a sedan, I can't compete with the roadies and the Ubers and the DoorDash. They got prices down as low as $7. I'm not going to go to $7, because how will we make money off of that? So, unfortunately, if you got a sedan, we can't do business. So, try with us next year. Maybe we'll probably have an opportunity for you, but right now it's no good. So now I'm meeting with folks. I'm telling them, like, we sign you up on this platform and you're on duty, we send you a delivery and you reject that delivery, we're going to kick you off the platform right away. Because we have to have these national retailers that are $100 million companies, maybe more than that, are tightening up, and they want the gig economy is now our actual economy. This is no longer a gig anymore. This is actual. If you're a business person, this is actual revenue that can be added to it. And how the AI works is the more you complete, the more jobs you get. And it should be like that. It's a reward, it's a merit reward. So it's the more you achieve, the more you should get. So, before it was a free for all. It was just throw everything at the wall, see what happens. These people were spending hundreds of millions of dollars, sending deliveries to people, folks rejecting it. And now they're like, we don't want that anymore. We're going to start closing people out of the business now. So, you in the next 3 to 4 months, you guys just mark my word. You guys are going to say, that guy Ken told me this. This industry is going to start closing the doors on a lot of people. You're not going to be able to do it anymore. And it's because the national retailers are very serious about what they need to do next. They want to get it to a 98.99% completion ratio. They want their customers happy because the customers have been complaining. People will come and pick up a delivery and then they don't adhere to the delivery window. So the people I want to partner with right away, I want the most professional person that I can get. I want the most serious individual that I can get. And then I want someone who actually has another hustle going, and don't just depend on this. Because this right now is nothing that you depend on. This is an actual supplemental income. And I come from the newspaper business, but that's what we used to sell to get people to come into the newspaper business, because we would recruit moms, soccer moms, dads with, full-time jobs, but wanted to get some supplemental income to buy Christmas for their family or take them on a trip. When I was in the newspaper business, we would even have doctors come and do routes just to get extra money on top of what they're currently doing. So this is the same strategy that they're doing now. They're selling folks on, this is supplemental income. It's funny, I was just talking to one of my buddies and one of my partners in Texas, and he was saying, if you're in this industry and you're not working multiple apps, you don't need to be in it. This is not, you don't come to one app and depend on that. You gotta do what they call stacking. So the only way that you can carve out a book of business in this is you gotta do the roadie, the freight, the K&M, the Uber, the DoorDash. You got to do everything simultaneously to make money off of it. And how you do that is one of my guys, he rides with a laptop in his vehicle, and he has every app up. And so when he goes, he just told me today, he's like, I'll take a job that I know ain't gonna pay me that much just to get out there for the algorithm to pick me up. And then I'll just start getting multiple jobs. And then because he's in that area and he has our app up, something pops up, boom, we send it to him. That's icing on top of the cake. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is a game of strategy and creativity. That's what we want to build. We want to build this platform stronger, but we got to be smart with how we build it. And that's, having team players on there across the nation that on demand, ready and accessible. And when we send a delivery to them, I got it ready to go. And they just add it to their current itinerary and their current book of business. And then they're just maximizing their earning potentials that way. So, that's what this platform is about. Partnership and building out something. This is a startup company. This platform we've been doing has only been 2.5 years. So we have a bright future ahead of us. And, instead of looking at the AI, artificial intelligence, as a bad thing, I told myself I got to look at it as a good thing. Because if I can build a strong network of service providers, and that's what we're building, is a network of entrepreneurs, owner-operators from California, Texas, all the way to Maine. And these are serious individuals that are really serious businessmen and women that understand that this is an investment into their future. Hey, they'll go do deliveries, but they know, like, hey, we know that that's money in the bank. I'm going to go and get something else going and get that going. So when it rolls in, it all, comes together. That's true entrepreneurship, putting pieces to the puzzle together. So, This is no longer the game for, folks who, just want to do something here and there. It's just, it's not going to work for you. This has to be a serious, serious people have to get into it now, because they're going to lock you out. Even the Ubers and the DoorDashes are doing that now, because if you're on their platform and you're on duty and they send you deliveries and or you send you ride shares and you're rejecting, pretty soon the algorithm, artificial intelligence, is going to move you to the bottom of the pile. And then pretty soon they'll never alert you again, and you've been banned, ostracized from the business. So that's what we're going to be doing now too, as well, because we have to, because it's, this is our way we make a living and feed our families and stuff like that. So, we got to have serious individuals. So that's why I do the weekly webinar, is to bring the human aspect to this. It's easy for me to text you or send you an email. That's artificial. You can send me something back and you go, okay, but you never will put your actual all into it. It's just something that you passive, so, if you're the serious individual that understand that this is the investment that you could build upon, opportunities are going to present itself. That's how it always happened in the business world. If I always been that person that I'm a steward. I'm a man of service. So everybody I've always partnered with, I always went above and beyond the call of duty. And that's what you got to do sometimes. Sometimes you got to just go above and beyond the call of duty, and then people recognize you, and then they'll give you opportunity. And that's how I made my way to the top at IKEA, because I was the guy that they would say, hey, Ken, would you go all the way up to Mendocino County? In the Bay Area, the California is big, so Mendocino County is like a 5-hour drive up north. I say, sure, I'll go up north. And I'm in a box truck, and I'm on Highway 101, and that's on the curve of the ocean. The ocean is right next to you, so it's a thin road, and you're just driving up, and I'm just happy, smiling, because I'm like, look, this is a labor of love. I'm blessed to have this. So that's what we bring to. And as you heard me say blessed, so that I'm a Christian man, and I believe in the Most High, and that's no disrespect to anybody who may be another religion, but that's how I carry myself. And so I walk in faith. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to walk in faith, because you don't know what tomorrow has for you, because anything can change at any given moment. And I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. This is how I take care of my family. And how we survive, and we do more than survive, how we live. So I'm not going to go into a whole long spiel today, because I wanted to make it short and sweet, because I think I got to the point here of what I'm trying to say. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the floor for anybody who has any questions. You can answer it, and you guys could have a good weekend, and hopefully we'll see you guys out there on the platform. So who has first questions?
Hey, this is Quentin.
Hey, Quentin.
I'm brand new to this. Unless I've set this up wrong, I haven't even been alerted to one delivery. So I think maybe I need. When I open up the app, down at the bottom it says resource denied. So I think I've done something wrong.
No, you did not. It's some kind of glitch that's going on with the software. So what you can do is you can try to uninstall and reinstall the app, or check for software updates. And I wouldn't be surprised if we haven't been able to. I think I've seen your name before, Quentin, but we haven't been able to assign you anything, because they just implemented. So like if you would have came on 2 weeks ago, they were sending so many deliveries to the board. It was ridiculous. And like I said, it was sending 6,000 deliveries over a course of 30 days. That was really redundant, and I didn't know why they would do that. But then they implemented this AI strategy last week, and it totally turned the whole industry around. And so now that, because of the 6,000 that they were sending to me, and I have a big network of people, I went from second ranking to 15. So right now it's about restructuring and rebuilding, because now I got to have people when the ball comes back around, I got to be able to hand it off to them, and we run with the ball. We make touchdown, go all the way to the goal, So that's why also I'm continuing to do the webinars, because I know that if I could strategically have a Quentin or a Tina or a LaShane, that's it, right?
LaShan
on my team that I could depend on when the time comes, they're ready and accessible. If they're on duty and I send them a delivery, they go out and conquer that, and then we duplicate that. Because remember, we got a whole network from California all over, and we duplicate that 100, 200 times a day. Then that's bringing us back up in the ranking. I've already in just 1 week turned around the tide to where, just to give you some numbers, I don't know if you guys numbers people, but 6,000 deliveries sent over a course of 30 days and only 500 completed. That's a 4% completion ratio. That's terrible. It's horrible. But if they would have sent 1,400 deliveries to me and I had that 500, I'm the best that they have.
Right.
So you see what happened there? It was so that's okay. I can't cry over spilled milk. All I can do is this: keep on pushing forward, because no weapons formed against me shall prosper, and we're gonna build this thing out. So that's why I'm meeting with you folks and I'm talking with you guys, because this is still a platform that is very viable, but we got to have the right folks in place to bring turn the ship around. So I've already just in 1 week, they've sent me a total of just in 3 days, they sent 141 deliveries. We had completed 30 out of that. That was a 20.5 completion ratio. So that right there we doubled. We went 100% already, over 100% in an increase. And so I already know by today we've probably done 15 deliveries a day. They've probably sent me a total of like 300 or 400 about 300 deliveries. So we should be right now at a 30%, 40% completion ratio. And so if, meeting with you guys, and then next week, you guys, or tomorrow, you guys are positioned and where you guys are at, you turn your app on, and if something pops up, we get it over to you, you complete that increases it, and we keep on going, because the algorithm is based upon 30 days of historical data.
Right.
And so so we have to get our numbers up, and then by the end of the 30 days, if we're at 50%, 60% completion ratio, that puts us back at the top. And then that means the next 30 days, we are going to have business flowing in. So that's what we're doing right now. So it's a complex game, but it's very simplistic. In the name of the game is just complete deliveries. That's it. You're going to make money. You're not going to get rich off of it right now, but the people who helped Uber build Uber out, the first guys and gals, that was the delivery people. Because remember, when they first came out, it was so many, people jumping on. The first guys and gals that did that, they ended up becoming shareholders of that company. They got stock in that company. And when that company became public, and it's a $1 billion company, guess what? They got wealth off of that. So you're not going to get wealth off of doing deliveries. That's not going to bring you wealth. What brings you wealth is investing in a platform that's bigger than just you as an individual. You play your part, you invest your sweat equity in it, and then we keep on pushing this thing forward, and then we leverage those numbers that we built to get bigger books of business. And then that's when the lawyers come in, the business lawyers come in, and then the offerings and all that stuff come in. But folks at our end don't really understand that unless you've been a part of something, that investment. The people who invest, I went to college for business administration, and I remember being around a tech guy, and he told me that when they first started their company, his brothers cousins, friends will work for free. They worked for free. And they did everything they did because they knew there was an end result at the end, you know? And these guys were a part of the PayPal scenario and in all that stuff. And, you know, so anyways, you know, that's what we have to offer here. This is a business opportunity for folks who want to do, and that's a heavy responsibility to take on. But, you know, if you were Uber or DoorDash or Roadie, you invest in your sweat equity for them to get rich. You don't have no skin in the game. They're not giving you anything because your number, they have 1 million people. They dropped the prices down to $7 per delivery. That's crazy. I had a buddy who is a very good businessman in this, but it's just him by himself doing deliveries. He's in Los Angeles. And he told me, you know, he had went and did a delivery, and he had did a delivery here in Northern California. He was making it back, and he had, you know, made $250 only going, you know, one way, but he had to come back, and he was like, man, I'm going to lose money coming back, so I'm going to turn on Roadie to get some deliveries. And he's like, man, I'm embarrassed. He said, I went and took 7 stops and made $39. Right. 7 stops and made $39. That's horrible. With
I agree.
With us, you could go do 1 stop and make $39. Just depends on the delivery. You can make 1 stop and make $20. You can make 1 stop and make $22, but you'll never make $7 unless you're doing some tire deliveries. And even then, they used to pay more on the American Tire deliveries, and I had to completely stop having them send us tire deliveries because no one in the network would take it. They would be like, I'm not doing anything for that. But I think they were being naive because the way the economy is about to go, they're going to be doing deliveries for $4. They're going to be doing it for $4. You know? So, you know, this is a community and it's a partnership. And if you guys want to be a part of it, I welcome you to it. It's a great platform. I built this. I took a lot of sweat equity. I invested a lot of money into this platform. You know, this technology is expensive. It doesn't come free. You know, so that's the thing that was so frustrating to me. Like, you send people being so passive about it, and you send things to them and they be like, I don't want it. And you're like, you know how hard someone worked to get that job to you? But I guess it's a cultural thing, phenomenon. Because I'm 45 years old. I'm born 1980. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up in America where you worked, you went out, you hustled. You didn't turn things down. My grandfather built the highway during the day, and then him and his friends did janitorial work at night. You know, and that was to buy a home, keep a home, and put his kids through college. You know, we in a time now where people think you could get on social media or on YouTube and then you got it. That's not how things go. You have to be a real all-around enterprise, you know. And, you know, I have a YouTube channel I suggest you guys go to and subscribe to it. We're going to be uploading more videos and stuff and content like that. I think I'm going to really spin this thing off into a podcast because I think that we could utilize this thing and put our words and our voices out there because of these companies that are implementing these AI strategies, you know, that people don't get blocked out of this business because the people who push this business are you and I. You know, and it's the guys who don't even do deliveries who's making the decisions on how the business should go. And, you know, I just happen to be blessed to be in the circle in with those folks and have their ears. But, you know, they didn't even tell me that they were going to implement this artificial intelligence strategy. And I've been doing business with them for 2.5 years. So, you know, we really gotta pull ourselves by the bootstraps this time around, and folks gotta really. But you know, I remember about a few years ago, another entrepreneur was saying that I know he was like, the future of American economy is going to be co-ops. It's going to be communities, platforms of people that are in the same line of business, and they're teaming up together to go get books of business. And then, there's not one CEO, it's a few CEOs doing business together and going out and leveraging those numbers to get more money and to take care of themselves, instead of one individual trying to go out there and fight on his own. It's a team. And I believe that's the future of how the workforce is going. But it almost sounds like a union. But if you know the statistics, less than 15%, I believe, of Americans are in a union. It may be like 10%. So our society has no representation. People are just going from pillar to post. And it needs to be some structure re-implemented into our society where we understand that we gotta work together to get to the end result. My grandfather retired with a pension, and he had Social Security. He died when he was 56. My grandmother lived off. She's 96. She's 96 years old this year, and she's still alive. And she lives off of that pension that he worked for back in the 50s. Imagine that. It's almost it's 2025. So 25 more years. That'll be 100 years. 100. It's 75 years ago. That hard work pays off to this day. So the work that we're doing today is not going to give us instant gratification, but if we work towards and we have morals about ourselves and honor and try to work towards something better and bigger in life, because it ain't about us, it's about the ones under us and the ones after us. Even though they're saying with artificial intelligence is speeding up, technology to where, if we can live 5 years from now, that, we'll be able to live past, our ancestors have lived. But we still got to have wealth to be able to live in life. We got to have some kind of money coming in. And so, the autonomous vehicle is coming around where, deliveries are going to be, they said 15 years from now, 20 years from now, a lot of the deliveries are going to be done by autonomous vehicles, drones and all that stuff. So this is the time right now to do something, band together, be a part of something great. Let's build this out, so when 15 years from now comes and we have something to leverage, some kind of wealth to leverage to then transition into that artificial intelligence world where we have the autonomous vehicles that are rolling for our platform that are doing the deliveries. Instead of us getting pushed out of a workforce and starving. I'm not going to let that happen to myself or my family. I'm going to work hard to build this thing out. You guys are going to either go, be a part of it or, but I welcome you to be a part of it. I really do. So with that said, you guys enjoy your Friday. If you got any more questions, feel free to ask real quick. I mean, it doesn't have to be real quick. Yeah. Hey.
It's LaShan. I have a question.
Yes,
what all will we be delivering?
So it's all Lowe's home improvement. We actually had that in the ad, Lowe's home improvement. So this is going to be, majority. It's going to be some bulky stuff. What type of service vehicle do you have, LaShan?
I use my SUV right now
Yes,
to do delivery. So I use Curry, and Curry is also auto parts. I just wanted to kind of see what exactly we would be delivering.
Yeah, so we were supposed to be. There was supposed to have been a AutoZone Pep Boys account that was supposed to sign on with the platform. Mm-hmm. It never materialized for some reason. I think it has something to do with the supply chain right now being disrupted. So it just hasn't materialized. So right now, 80%, well, I would say 90% of our deliveries, well, I would say more than that. All of our deliveries are Lowe's right now. It's all Lowe's. Because we sometimes see like that. We also have a major account with the U.S. Air Force Base, all of the U.S. Air Force bases across the whole nation. And so sometimes every now and then we get those that pop up. But the thing is we don't have enough people who have real IDs, you know, are you familiar with that real ID thing that they got?
Yeah, I have my Twit card.
Oh, awesome. Look at that. Look at you. Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff because, you know, if we get one of those things and it can fit in your SUV, then you can go onto the military base and get those deliveries. So like, but majority of the people we have in our network don't have a Twit card or the real ID, and they can't gain access, or they may have some kind of felony or something, some conviction on their record that they just can't gain access. So like, that's a great thing to have. But, you know, right now I do see, this is the deliveries I see that pops up. They're SUV, minivan, pickup trucks, and some cargo van, and some box trucks. That's what I'm seeing. So your SUV, how big is your SUV?
It's a Hyundai Tucson.
Oh, so is it a mid-size or a full size?
I'm not sure. It's a midsize, but when I put my back seat down, like I can fit a lot of stuff in here, so I utilize it as much as I possibly can.
Yes, ma'am. LaShawn, what you should do is Google the dimensions on that so you can master what your vehicle could fit.
Okay.
Because as a professional delivery service provider, you should know your dimensions of all your vehicles, of your service vehicles. Know how much your payload is, because that's your money. So, you know, figure out if you could fit, 6 feet worth of product, or if it's only 4 or 5 feet. That don't knock you out of not getting deliveries, but it just it limits you on what you can transport and can't transport. A lot of folks, what they do too as well, and it's just a thought, you may want to think about is, going out and get you some kind of trailer, get a hitch on the back, put a hitch on the back and get you a trailer. Thought about that?
Well, I do medical deliveries right now as well. So
yes, ma'am.
I never thought about like putting a hitch or doing anything like that, just trying to basically like stack and get like decent rates, because everything else that's out here has been trash, and you utilize your own vehicle, and you putting the wear and tear in your car, and most people don't really care about that. So for me, it's just like it has to make sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's what I'm saying. I saw this business go from what it was to what it is now. And when I first transitioned over from the brick and mortar to the digital 3PL, it was I was able to bid and make my own price. So they were like, okay, here's the situation, Ken. You have this tiers, you have this in this categories, you have this and this type of deliveries. Bid on every tier. So I had to scientifically break down, dimensions, and if the delivery is 0.5 miles or 5 miles or 10 miles from the domicile, we'll charge this amount. If it's 10 to 20 miles and it weighs this and this dog, so on and so forth. And so you submit this RFP, request for financial proposal. You submit it to them, and they tell you, okay, you got it. At the time, they were just letting anybody. They were like, yeah, come on, yeah, sure. And my prices were very great. And so when I recruited all my people onto it, I was the highest paying person. And what I did is I priced it so well that, say, for instance, a delivery that weighed 1,500 pounds at that time, it was paying $150. So they were only 5 to 20 miles away from the domicile, from the store. That's called a domicile. So it was a no-brainer. Okay. And then at the time it was a 60-40 split. I put in my mind, okay, just depending on the situation, I'll take 40 and give them 60, or I will take 50-50. But it was still enough money for everybody to share. And people were making a lot of money. I mean, I was doing payouts to people, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a week for them. And we had ran up the business to, we were doing like $100,000 a month off of just the business, just off the on demand. And then One Rail changed their whole strategy again, because the guy who was the vice president of VP of logistics partnership, he came from Uber, and he had an Uber mind state. And so he came and he said, no, you guys are doing it all wrong. What you need to do is you need to bring the big guys, the big dogs, and you'll latch them on to this, and that's going to drive the price down. So you don't have to pay these other guys that much because they got competition. And so they came, and then there was a lot of fraudulent stuff going on at the same time too, as well, because it was guys with box trucks that were ORDs, owner operators who just had their stuff together, and they were able to get onto the One Rail platform on their own, and they would get deliveries and send people up there, and then they would never pick up the product, but they would get paid for it. And so it was a major scandal that went on where millions of dollars was being scammed from One Rail on that. And so they switched up everything. So then that's when the Ubers, the DoorDashes, the Freights, and the Roadies, and the Simpex, they all started just coming in. And then they started, because they came in with 1 million, like Roadie, I think boasts they have 1 million people in their network. So when you got that many people, you can saturate a market, and that drives the price down automatically. So it goes from just a professional industry to a gig industry. And that's where you have the soccer moms coming, you had the grandfathers with the pickup trucks, you had the college students with the SUVs, and everybody came into it. And then the price got driven down, and it went from $1 to 50 cents on the dollar. And now they then brought it down to 20 cents on the dollar. It's crazy. And the Roadies, Roadies shot themselves in the foot, I believe, because they got a lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people are disgruntled with them. And from what I hear, somebody was telling me they're on the verge of going out of business. I know Simpex is having a hard time because they came with that same model, because these were guys who never did deliveries. These were tech guys coming into the delivery industry.
Thinking they know everything.
They know everything.
Shot in the foot. Yeah.
Right. And they may know tech. They know tech, but they don't know logistics. To be a logistician, you got to be out there in the world, living this stuff and doing deliveries and knowing what the little nuances are out there. We know that in the business of logistics, that's why you give delivery windows. You don't give exact times. Like, you don't say, "Oh, I'll deliver in an hour." No, you go. I have a window between. I'm gonna give you a window between 1 and 5.
Right, because you don't know what happened from traffic to accidents, all of that.
As long as I land I could either land in between and get there before, or I will be there by. And so that gave you enough time for mistakes to take place, or something will go wrong, or whatever, whatnot. You you have a flat tire, you could get it fixed within 5 hours. You could get to there, or in our case, we would have box trucks, and one of the box trucks would have the driver wrecked and stuff like that. We can have another box truck come and bag up to it, and then they could transport the stuff over to that truck, and then that truck could continue down and go and get that delivery done. And what One Rail messed up with is they let their guys go out, their tech guys go out and negotiate the contracts. So, when I was with IKEA didn't do that stuff. IKEA is those people who run IKEA, it's the reason why they're $1 billion company. They grow their trees. They pick the tree, they grow their trees, okay? And then they from the tree, they take it to their warehouses, and then they use the trees that they grow. They replant those trees, but they use the trees that they grow, and they have artisan. This is in I think it's in Denmark or where's IKEA, Switzerland or something like that. Wherever, it's over there somewhere. And those folks have artisan furniture makers, and they make it out of the wood, and then it's a vertically integrated company. They're very smart over there. And so I think it's Denmark. No, yeah, something like that. But here, and then they what they did here in American society, they gave it to 10 o'clock at night. They would say, okay, we'll give you a window, but if something happens, we'll until 10 o'clock. So they never experienced what Lowe's and One Rail is experiencing, because One Rail went out and negotiated some crazy deal with Lowe's about, if we breach the delivery window, we'll pay you $100 per. That's a starving student approach. That's a starving approach. You know what I mean? It's like, they were just so hungry to get that deal from them that they gave that to them. And so now this is the reason why they implemented the AI strategy, and this is why they're telling us now. They telling us, okay, you built it up this big, now you got to break it down and rebuild it over again, and you got to build it with trustful people, and you got to build it in a 3PL model instead of a gig model. And so they're like, you got to kick off anybody who's not going to do deliveries, and we got to have nothing but serious people. And then for you to be able to make a living, and everybody to make a living, you guys got to have they want us to be above 36% completion ratio. They want us to be, up in 50% and better. Because they're telling Lowe's they're going to get to a 98. They just told me this the other day. Our goal is to get to a 98.99% completion ratio. And the AI that they implemented is actually a predictive analytical. It's a predictive analytical software. So the AI is predicting what team will get it done and complete it the most to get to that. So they're using machine learning and artificial intelligence to get humans to do the right thing. It's almost like it's making humans into robots almost, It is like it's like if you don't do it, you don't get rewarded. You won't have no money. You won't make money in this business. You'll get shut up. So that's where we're at now. It's not that scary, but it's actually a good time. It's like because it's a good time to build community and partnership.
Okay. Okay. So my next question would be like when we go on the app and it says that we're on duty, so how will it come to us? Like, will it come in notification form? Will it come like how Uber does it? Or will it come like, okay, well, you're in this area, you got this, and that, and finish that, and then boom?
No. So this is, because we pay probably the most in when it comes to these deliveries. So it's going to be, so it just depends. So like if you're in the area, and remember, it's like you get rewarded for the jobs that you do. So if you're in the area and we send you a delivery and you go straight to that store and you pick it up, then you go straight to that delivery location and you complete it, the algorithm AI will automatically pick you up, and then it's grading you as you go. You're getting graded on it's called a KPI, which is a completion ratio, and it's called a KQI, which is a quality of the completion. Okay. Right. And then it's all connected to what is called a SLA, which is a service level agreement. And then that's also connected to a SOP, which is called a standard operational protocol or procedure.
Right.
These are all these are technical words that they use, terminology they use in the tech business and in the logistics business. So
I use them too.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about then. That's what you're graded on. And so but you're getting graded, and everybody in our network's getting graded.
Okay.
So if we're moving in solid units and everybody's doing and playing their part, then that's more deliveries that come to you, and more deliveries to the rest of the platform. So right now, it's like we're in rebuild stage now. So I'm trying to position partners in areas, to this week, we're doing good. We got until Sunday to finish it off. Remember, we gotta run up the data to 30 days to the end of the month, and then they put that data into the AI, and then that determines the next 30 days and who gets the jobs the next 30 days.
Okay.
So yeah.
My next question, my last question, it would be the time frames. Do we have a certain time frame that we have to be on the app? Is it like when we are available that we put ourselves on duty, or how exactly does that work?
Yeah, anytime you're available. It's just like any other thing. Like I don't know if you guys, it's a one out here in California called Gold Puff. They're with beverages and more. I don't know if you guys got those stores out there, but it started here in California. They have their own delivery thing, and so with them, whenever you're available, you just log on. But what they have blocks of time, and then you would schedule a 4-hour block of time, and in that 4-hour block of time, you got to take whatever delivery that comes to you. But that's not how we do it. We just ask that if you get on the app and you're on duty, and we're sending you, because we're only going to send you deliveries that are in a 5 to 20 mile radius of where you're currently at. So we just
Okay.
ask that if you're on duty and we're sending you deliveries, that you're actively completing those deliveries.
Okay. All right,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I got a question. Um, when
What's up,
we
Nevin?
have a yes, so when we have a delivery from Lowe's and we go to the customer's house, do all deliveries require a signature?
Yes. Well, not all, because you do get sometimes where people are at work and in the delivery instructions, it may say just leave it in somewhere safe, take a picture of it, and then you can sign it yourself. But what I always tell people, just to be cautious in your movement, if you get to a place and that person is not there to answer, you right away reach out to me or the dispatch, or you call One Rail Dispatch, which, it's on the app. It's actually Nevin, you've done deliveries. You know what it looks like. Actually, on the app, I think it's a thing that says SOS on there. I believe it does. Or you can just go to the contact and it's a phone
Phone
icon.
number.
You just tap that phone icon. That's going to take you straight to One Road Dispatch. And
Okay,
then you
yeah,
just
because I
call
had
One Road.
yeah, because I had a scenario like that because I had drywall in my truck.
Yeah.
I'm ringing the customer and they weren't coming out. So I sent a message to a text message where I would send me the offer. I'm like, hey, I'm outside the customer house. No one is here. It's drywall. And
Right.
like 10 minutes later, the customer came out. He's like, yo, come around back. And he was like, kind of irate about like, this supposed to be here yesterday. I don't know why it didn't come. I was like, look, I'm sorry, but I just got the message today. I'm here now. So,
Right.
and another one I went to, same scenario. The person wasn't home. Garage was open, ringing the bell. And I needed a signature. And I called that number, like you said, the One Rail number. And I was able to talk to someone. They told me how they was like, hold on a minute. And then like a couple of seconds later, I was like, go ahead and leave it, take a picture,
Right.
and put it in the signature NA.
Yep.
And go ahead and take a picture. So I just take a picture. I left. I took a picture of the house. I took a picture of the mailbox. So
that's how you do
that
it.
way, if they're looking, they
Yep.
have all the pictures. So I was just wondering like if all deliveries require a signature, because on my end, I didn't see any on the 3 deliveries I had. It did not say anything about, hey, no signature required.
Yeah,
But,
sometimes not to cut your wisdom, brother, but yeah, sometimes they do every scenario is different in logistics. Nothing's going to be the same. You're going to get 50,000 different ones. So, you just take it one step at a time, and always, the name of the game out there is always stay calm and keep your mind poised, because you can make a mistake very easily. Like if you don't make sure that you're at the right location, you got situations where you could leave it, and then the customer say, I didn't receive that product, then that's a claim.
Right.
So what I always ask for you to do is, just take your time when you're out there. You don't see someone there, I know were you from New York? You sound like you're moving to New York minute.
Yeah, I used to live in the Bronx, New York, but I'm outside of Philly.
It sound like you. I could tell you sound like you moving to New York minute. So it's just sometimes you just gotta slow it down a little bit, and then just think logical. Like, would you want someone to just leave your product at your door without what I'm saying, any instructions? So that's how I always try to treat. I always try to treat the people, the customers, merchandise like it's my merchandise.
Right.
And how I would want a delivery. So first step to always do is, when you get that type of situation, you either reach out to the dispatching and send them a text. If you don't hear nothing back from my side of it, always call One Rail, their dispatch, and then you give them the order number and your name, and then they're going to say, hey, look, I'm at this blah blah blah. This is Mrs. whoever or Mr. whoever. They're not here. No one's answering. Could you guys call them or give me some kind of delivery instructions? They'll go, okay, hold on for a second, Evan. Let me see. They'll either go to call the customer and see if they're there. And if they're not there, they're going to come back and say, hey, Nevin, just leave it in a safe space. Take pictures. And you did good right there. You take me personally, I'm taking multiple pictures. I'll take pictures of where it's at. First of all, what I would do when you guys get to the store, always examine the product before you leave the store. Take pictures of that. It's not nothing off your back to take pictures of it, because sometimes what Lowe's would do is they'll pile stuff up, and something will be damaged at the bottom. You get all the way to the customer's house, and like you just experienced, Nevin, how he was irate about you not being there the day before. You get it off. I don't want this, and then now it's your responsibility. You're at fault. You can't go and say, hey man, Ken, guess what? That was like that. Well, examine it before you do it. So what I do is, when I first get there, I go around, I take pictures of the product, and I even if I see the count is like 10, I even count it and see if it's there. just to make sure it's there. It's not going to take that long to do that. Count 10 items. It's not like it's going to be 150 items. If it's 150 items, I won't even count it. I'll just take a picture of everything.
Right.
From every angle, just as much as possible. So, because I had a guy who went to Lowe's, he went and just grabbed the cart because they bring a cart to you, with stuff on there already. He's not thinking to look and see if it's a bag with a caulking tube in there. So he gets to the delivery location. He delivers it, and the customer says, "Where's my bag with the caulking tube?" And he's like, I don't know. This is what they gave me. So then they come and hit him with a claim because they came at me with the claim, but I'm going to send it to you because it's your responsibility. So he ended up, forfeiting part of his earnings to cover that caulking tube. And then I had a buddy in Charlottesville, Virginia. He went and picked up a huge toolbox that was about $1,000. Well, in the back of the toolbox, it was dented. He didn't see it. He didn't even take pictures of it. He just put it in his vehicle. That's what he told me. So he gets it over there. They come and hit him with they hit a claim for $888.
Right.
Right. And he's one of my guys that do a lot of deliveries. So, he's been doing free deliveries for the last 2 weeks just to cover that $888. So, that's why we're a team. We have to work together. We got to think together, and we have to understand, cover ourselves every step of the way. And, the big companies are telling their guys the same thing. They sent out YouTube videos to their whole heavy hitters at the top and said, hey, count your product before you leave because we're getting hit with claims. So just cover yourself when you're out there. Be professional as possible. Always look and make sure you're at the right location. You're not delivering at the wrong location, things of that nature. And try not to be aggressive with the customer because they'll complain about that. And so if you do that, everything will be good.
Got you. Yeah. So for me right now, I'm just on the weekends doing it until October full time. I got a high roof cargo van. I also am in the process of getting my TWIC card, and the next step is to get my TSA certification.
Man, you dialed in, brother. Yep. Yeah.
And I just need to get a tow. I got a trailer ready. So, and I've been on this platform before back in October and November, and I did some stuff for the other people. Yeah. And it was a lot of stuff they did send me. I can fit in a minivan. They were selling me 14-foot plyboard and wood and like installation. I can fit in the minivan.
Right.
But now I'm upgraded to a bigger vehicle. But I said in October I'm looking full force on doing it full time.
Right. So what I would do just to give you some business advice, like before you give up your other bread that you got coming in to take care of your family, secure and lock down a contract that that's going to give you 7 days a week business. Right. Because if you get a business that's only running 5 days out of the week, you got 2 days that you're losing money on. Always remember that, because that vehicle you got, if you didn't pay for that outright and you owe a monthly bill on that, on the weekends you're not making money, you losing money. Right. So always get something to where it's 7 days a week, and then you can figure it out after that. Right now you just we start off, you're going to have to be the person working 7 days a week, but then you put an ad on Indeed once you learn it, and then you hire someone you can trust that will work on the weekends. And then that way you're home with your wife and kids, on the weekends, and you're not out there trying to, hustle, so. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I know I got something hooked up for October. One of the guys, I don't know if you ever heard about On Track.
Yeah. Hey, so be careful with On Track. Be very careful.
Yeah. I know. So the guy gave me the delivery in where I live at. Yeah, so where I live at, he gave me delivery where I live at. So I gotta keep a record of everything that he gives me. And like I said, I live between 3 Lowe's and another 2 more Lowe's a little bit further out within the 20-mile radius. So I'm planning on doing that.
Let me ask you a quick question, Evan. Are you getting that contract with? Are you getting that contract with On Track? Or are you going through a person who got a contract?
I'm going to a person right now who has it.
I would be careful, bro, because look, On Track already by itself is a dirt bag. By itself,
I see.
You get what I mean? Because On Track is started here in California. I'm very familiar. What they did is they merged with the East Coast company called Red something, I forgot what it's called, but they merged into one company. I almost got a couple contracts out of On Track, but they only want to pay you $2.50 per delivery.
Right.
And so and then they're requiring that, that maybe out there they're letting you use people with their own vehicles, but here they were like, okay, you can use people with their own vehicles, but they got to be on your insurance, so you got to pay for them. And then they want you to have workers' comp, uninsurance, unemployment insurance, and all that stuff, payroll tax insurance, and all that stuff. They're crazy, and then they want to work you. They want to work you till you can't. They're going to have you out there doing 300, 400 deliveries a day. So get ready, brother. Yeah.
So this guy, I already told him, like, listen, he keeps telling me, like, we need cargo van workers. So I got a cargo van. I was like, right now, I only do 75 stops because I still want to work with other platforms, like with you, you, and also like with Roadie. I just got on Roadie also and Freight and Simpex. So I'm not giving him my whole day with him. I'm like, dude, I can't give you my whole day here with you. I can make more money with a cargo van. Give me 75 stops. He's like, you got till 9 o'clock to deliver. So if I can run them back and forth, juggling each app, I'm gonna try to do that. And I also got a ship target called Ship.
Yeah,
it's out in Conshohocken, another like 25 minutes away from me. That's another place I can also get deliveries from. Also, if he's not giving me no work. But
what I would look into if I was you, I'll look into Amazon route. Try to get you an Amazon route, because Amazon got those routes that they give to people with their own vehicles. And you could do that. I would look into Spark. One of my guys in Texas, Longview, Texas, he's killing it doing Spark. He does Simpex. He would not touch On Track with a 12-foot pole.
I got you. I guess how I'm starting off, I'm willing to take whatever right now.
I get you. But what I would do is I would do Spark. Spark is out there where you're at. Do Amazon.
Yeah, they deactivated me because I never uploaded my real ID, and I've been trying to get with them. Like, hey, can you guys? So I don't know how the busy season's coming up. They may let me come back on. We'll see what happens, but
definitely look into you can't do Spark right now. So look into Amazon. I will look into I don't know if there's a company, because out here there was a company formerly known as Axle Hire. They changed their name to Jitsu. They're called
Jitsu. Yeah.
Okay, look into Jitsu. Do Jitsu, bro, because Jitsu, you can get a bang for your buck, and you can do all the apps at the same time. So with Jitsu, they'll have you show up to their domicile at like 7 o'clock in the morning. You'll have a pre-scheduled route. You'll go out with like 20 stops or 25 stops. It's only going to take you about 4 hours to complete those. You're going to make a good 150 or something like that for those 20 or 30 stops. You make 150, and then you can at towards the end of it, you could turn the apps on, and so you just time it correctly. So when you got 10 stops left, it's only going to take you this X amount of time. So you could turn that app on as you're moving, and then the app will pick you up. The algorithm will pick you up. So when you get to that last stop, you should already have another stop in the queue. And then you go out and do that delivery. And you turn our app on too as well. And something pops up, we can send it over to you. Now you building a whole business out of it. But On Track, I just shy away from On Track, bro, because this is the thing. I dealt with them personally, and I know how they are. And they out here. They got a lot of Brazilian brothers out here. They got doing it out here because they can't speak English that well, and they just got them out here and just slaving them, man, slaving them.
Right. Now it sounds like the same thing over here. Because I kind of told the guy, I'm like, listen, man, I can't sit out the warehouse for 45 minutes to bring my truck in and then to load my stuff up. So what happened? I ended up waiting 45 minutes out the warehouse, pulled my truck around back, took my stuff out, loaded it up. So I told the dude, I was like, dude, I just lost 2 hours just waiting here. You're not paying me to sit here. I'm just giving, have my stuff ready. I throw it in my truck and I go. I'm not waiting.
Another thing you should look into. It's a good idea that you could do. It's 7 days a week. 7 days a week, though. It may only be 6. I would look into because the New York Times is still a valuable newspaper that's still out there. You can go and pick you up an overnight route that you go and pick up the paper. You can time it right. You can get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, be at the domicile at 4 or 5, get your route, get it roll up your papers. You can roll it up on a road and go out there, and you can complete, and they pay they were paying like $5 per stop. And those are not, it's not, you're not driving over a large geographical area. It's all houses right next to each other. So it's easy delivery. And that's secure money. You can, and then you get an opportunity. If you killing it, you can become a super agent. And a super agent,
Okay.
that means you can go and they'll give you a territory, and then you can get people to come in. You can hire independent contractors on you. That's how I first got into the logistics business. I was a super agent for a huge newspaper here in the Bay Area News Group. And when I first started, I had a territory of like 3,500 people. And then I ended up building to a territory of about 11,000 customers daily, 6 days a week, and then 12,000 on Sundays. And I had like 35 independent contractors that was working with me. And so it was a good business. I mean, it generated a lucrative amount of money, but it's very thin margins in it. But if you're a go-getter, you add that with another hustle that you got going. And then if you get creative, you can bring family members and stuff in there, so you're not working yourself 7 days a week. And
Right.
it's just a good opportunity. So I would look into that I advise all you guys to look into that in your respectful jurisdictions.
Gotcha, man. I appreciate the advice. Definitely take that in consideration, in my look.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anybody else? Man, this got good, didn't it? This is what this is about. That's the whole point of having this forum, because you see how the ideas just came in. Nevin just said what he said. Lashane said, Lashane said, she said, Lashane. I'm gonna get it right this time. Lashane. I'm not gonna forget it. Lashane. I got they say if you say it 3 times, you can remember. Lashane. I'm gonna remember it. I won't forget it. So this is the reason why I did the whole forum, was because it's a place of creativity where we can talk about things and you can get ideas, because I've been in this business for 20 years. So I know, and you see how he brought up on track. LaShann knew it already. She already knew. She said, yep, on track, no good. But there's another avenue you guys should look into. They're one of the biggest. Go Share is one, but another one called T-Force. Their headquarters is in Texas. Quentin may know what I'm talking about, but T-Force, they're a 3PL that's huge. They're into e-commerce as well. So I would suggest that you Google T-Force and see if you could try to get with them. They have opportunities as well. It's just diversify your portfolio. Don't depend on just one means of income in this business, because you're already in a business that's very cyclical. It's a cyclical business. It goes up and down. You have your peak seasons, and then you have your season that is not too profitable. So diversify your portfolio and building good partnerships in each one of these platforms is going to get you a long way. It's going to help you stretch what they call stretch the play.
Got you. I'm on also GoShare. I'm waiting for the approval on that, and Bungie. Since I got my Twit card, the guy told me how if you got your Twit card, I'll move you up to the list. So that's what I'm waiting on right now.
Right.
So once I got my Twit card, he's gonna look at my profile again, and we'll see from there.
Awesome. That's a good job. Quentin, what you should do, Quentin, there's a company out in Texas called Jump Logistics. I know those guys. They did. I was going to partner with him in California. You should look into Jump Logistics, JUMP Logistics. Really good guys. You should look into it. If you got a Twit card or a TSA card, they do a lot of TSA work. That's something that you can pick up with them. You guys can they may be all over the nation. I know that they were trying to make a move here in California a couple of years back, but they never executed the game plan. It was just too expensive for them to do business out here. But you may want to look into that.
I've applied for them as well.
Did you? Jump Logistics?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so, those are places, avenues to look into. You should also look into, go to your local floral company in your neighborhood and pass out your business card, because the floral company may already own a vehicle. But I got a really good account one time they were hiring people to come drive their cars. I called and was like, hey, have you guys ever thought about using independent contractors? And they were like, what? I was like, yeah, you can use me and you as an independent contractor, and you don't have to pay unemployment insurance, workers' comp insurance, or even payroll insurance. You could just pay me as a 1099 independent contractor. I pay my own taxes. They were like, that's genius. So they were an Asian couple, and I went over there and saw them in person and just sold them on the idea. And they were like, well, how much would you charge? I go, look, how many deliveries can you supply me with? It's like, I could do 50. I go, I did quick math. I said, $750 per stop. Got it. You know? And so, you know, and they were all close in proximity. You give me 50 stops at 750. Come on now. You know, just do
Yeah,
the
that's what I'm
math.
about to ask you. I'm about
That's
to ask
simple
you because
mathematics.
I was about like, how do you figure out like what do you charge? Because I have a dry cleaning, like one strip. There's like 6 dry cleaning business.
Right.
So I was just trying to figure out like what's a good rate to charge you. I'm like, hey, if I can take your dry cleaning, drop it off, and possibly set up something with the customer to bring it back. Also, like, what's a good price for to set something up like that?
Well, you always got to know what your overhead is going to be. You got to know the miles per gallon that you get in your vehicle. You got to know how much you can fit your payload in your vehicle. So, you know, I was in I had a hatchback and it was very fuel efficient. And so I knew that I was in the Bay Area. So I know the Bay, I'm born and raised here. So I knew that I can get to their territory was the East Bay where I grew up at. And then it was the North Bay. And then part of the, it was just the East Bay and the North Bay. So I just knew that it would only take me from their location where they were at. It would only take me 15 minutes to get to the North Bay. It would only take me 15 minutes to get to the East Bay. So I was like, they were centrally located. And so I knew, like, I said, well, how many deliveries can you get? Because that depends on how much you're going to charge them. So when they did 50, I said, because I know already 50 is that's a good amount of deliveries per day. If you could provide me with 50 deliveries per day, I just said 50 times 750, that's $375 a day off of that right there. So it probably is only going to take me, and it's just me, I'm the only one with the overhead, and I'm paying myself, and I'm just paying for this fuel efficient vehicle. I was getting something like 18 miles to the gallon. So it made, they say that thing was making gas. That's how good in gas mileage it was. It made gas, you know. So it was so good on gas that I already knew that I was winning. And so if it's only taking me, if it takes me 8 hours anyway, I'm still winning. So if it takes me 8 hours to complete 50 deliveries, you just take $375 and you divide that by 8. That's $46 an hour. Okay. And so, you know, I'm grossing $46 an hour. And it's just like any job, even if you make $25 an hour and you work for Coca-Cola, you still got to pay for gas to get to Coca-Cola. And you should be deducting that from your pay. You know, that's business. Everybody's in business. Everybody's a commodity. And if you think of things like that, then you're gonna go far. And then I also did another thing called scrapping. I don't know if you guys are familiar with scrap metal, and that's e-waste collection. I was doing that too as well. So I was going to computer stores and I was getting their old discarded computers and laptops. And at the time they were like, man, they were happy to get rid of that stuff, you know? And so I knew that there was precious metals inside there. So there's ferrous and non-ferrous metals. So the difference between ferrous metal is it's magnetized. The non-ferrous metal has no magnetism at all, or very little. So like gold is non-ferrous, copper is non-ferrous, platinum is non-ferrous, things of that nature. So, you know, then you got to connect with a recycler that'll pay you per net tonnage for it, per pound. And so, you know, I got a little complex with it. I went and got a resale license, and then I went and got a seller's account with one of the recyclers on the here in the port here in Oakland, and they're almost like an end user for it. So I would go. I had a couple storage units, and I had a route I made every week. I would go around picking up this stuff. I had mechanic shops. Because I was scrap metal. I call it scrapping. So I would pick up catalytic converters. I would pick up trainees, engine blocks, you know, old rims, you know, anything. I would pick up old printers, you know, TVs, plastic. Because I had a person who would buy plastic for me, and these was a Japanese family here in Hayward. They had a huge warehouse where they would shred up the plastic, and you have your different type of plastics. You got your AB. It's called ABS. I think it's ABS plastic, but you have your different type, polyethylene, something else. These are different type of levels of plastic, and they would shred it up, and then they would send it over to China, and then that's how you make your clothes, your polo shirts, your pants, and all that. It's made, plastic is in that. And so I built a business and friendships with these people, and then I was doing the newspaper. Remember, I was telling you I was doing the newspaper, so I negotiated with the newspaper people to get the bundles of newspaper. So then I would take the bundles of newspaper, compile that, and then I had there's a newspaper recycler here in the Bay Area, a huge one called Western Pulp. And so I went and hollered at them, and it was an older lady. She was really impressed by my acumen, and she was like, "Yeah, sure, you could sell it to me." So I was getting like 50 cents per pound. So I was winning. I turned it into a whole enterprise. And that's how you got to be when you're an entrepreneur. You got to be a pure creative, and that's how you survive. So, that's what I'm telling you. Like, I know the difference between on track and I could tell you a high caliber gentleman. I mean, do what you want to do, but I think that you could be spinning your wheels, finding something much better for yourself.
No, I appreciate that. I'm up for anything, man. Just to keep my lights on in my house. I mean, my truck is paid on for, so I know my wife is my little backup too,
Yes,
But
yep.
yeah, it's just, I mean, the goal point is to work for myself and get contract for myself. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, you do.
but yeah,
good.
I'm not giving that guy 7 days a week. I'm just telling him, hey, 3 days a week, I can help
Right.
you out, man.
That's good. Yeah, start off at 3, see what he's talking about. It doesn't hurt to try, maybe even start off with 2, be like, hey, I'll give you 2, and just find you something else. Like I said, like, if you are a good salesman, you can go and you can find avenues in your local areas. People always looking for a delivery person, on demand. You can go to your local kitchen and cabinet company. Your kitchen and cabinet companies, they're looking for people that'll deliver at a good price. You can go to your local furniture store, little hole in the wall furniture store, and offer your services. You could go to an appliance store, the hole in the wall appliance store, and offer your services as well.
Right. Now, yeah, I got it. Like I said, I don't know if I told you, but I used to work for FedEx for 14 years, and I know a lot of customers, like when FedEx doesn't pick up their blueprints and
Yes,
they
sir.
got to hire same-day courier. So I'm planning on going back there, handling my business, and I had good relationship with these customers, and also
Right.
like realtor. They're always trying to get, if someone's trying to buy a house, they want to get the paperwork right away. So, because the one lady was like, "Can we get it today?" I was like, "That's not how FedEx work. It's an overnight. We can get it to you tomorrow by 8 o'clock, 10:30, 3 o'clock, but." Stuff like this, I can go to the realtor and be like, listen, if you guys want a same day courier, here's my information.
Right. That's good.
Yeah,
That's a good
I do
idea.
that too.
Yep. That's a good
I'm
idea.
a notary.
Yep. That's a good idea. Because now you're doing expedite courier work. Courier work is good work. I mean, I know a guy who's super wealthy off of courier work, and he had a monopoly on it. That industry is really locked in. People who are in it, they've been in it. Their family probably handed them the business down, because it's really hard to get into that courier type of and have your own thing locked down. So, but yeah, I would connect with a courier company that's been around for a long time, that is reputable, that you can get nonstop expediting work, because it's all about your wheels turning. Because if your wheels are not turning, you're not earning. So you got to always remember that wheels got to be turning for you to earn. And so,
Right.
as long as you keep that motto in your head, and you stay hungry, and you stay humble, and and always stay positive. Don't drift into the dark side, because it's easy for us to do that. I mean, you'll do good in the business.
Gotcha. Appreciate it, man. Like right now, where I work at is a breast implant company, and we got these high clients. They come over from like New York, and they always wait for last minute shipment. So they
Right.
use FedEx and they use First Overnight. And I heard the guy complaining, like, once it gets in FedEx hand, we're not sure if we're gonna get it in time. So I'm trying
Right.
to talk to my boss and be like, listen, I'm right here in Philly. It's about a 2-hour drive to New York. You can give me that. I'm for sure getting that to the sales guy. Like the customer who's trying to get that breast implant, they getting it done. Because I'm leaving tonight to drop it off at the sales rep.
Hey,
And it's
Marvin.
like this. Yes.
Hey, I got a question. Well, it's not really a question, it's more so like a statement. For me, I used to work for FedEx as well. And then also I think for me, like I had to get out of the phrase of being like a 9 to 5 instead of being an entrepreneur. I
Right.
got dressed up one week and I went in and talked to all these people, and I'm still doing it. And they were just like, "Well, we never heard of you. Do you have a business card?" Actually just going in and talking to these people and let them see face to face, like you mean business, your structure, your discipline, you're organized. they'll give you the business. Because I even went into a place that it's a specimen place, and they started using me. So they called me every so often to come do something for them, and that's all for me just going in and talking to them
Right.
face to face, dressing professional, have my business card, and, just let them know who you are and know that you on time, you disciplined. A whole little script you can come up with, even if you just want to send in an email form before you call and reach out to them and want to do a meeting.
Okay.
Right. And
Just
make
let
sure you
people
do
like
this.
Thank you for that.
Make sure you do this, Nevin. When you go in there, make sure you wearing a polo or some type of tie. Go in there dressed looking professional. Don't go in there looking like a delivery driver. You know what I mean? Go in there, be professional. Hand your business card to them, and then when you come be the delivery driver, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you was like." But that's how you got to get it. You got to be two people at one time because you're a CEO. You know what I mean? And a CEO sometimes has to be this. You got to be the soldier and the CEO at the same time. So like, just play your position right. You're gonna be okay, man. Because I could tell you hungry. You're a go getter. LaShann, I already know I just hearing her talk, she's a go-getter. So you guys are the type of people that I want to partner with and be on the platform, because we could do so many things together. Because like Lowe's is trying to roll out what they call next day routes, and they're going to be doing that in a couple months. And so once that rolls out, that's going to be huge, because that's going to be 7 days worth of week of business. And they want us to designate a service provider to a store, and they'll be responsible for 7 days worth of business coming out, every week. And so the thing is that they can't drop any routes. So what they just did with this whole AI thing and trying to get the completion rates up, it's a precursor to that huge opportunity that's going to roll around. So, when that rolls around, man, you'll be one of the people that I'll refer, you and LaShann.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes,
No,
sir.
I mean, because I live in Aubrey. I'm in Aubrey, Texas. So I'm a little bit out the way. So for me, I felt like me moving to Aubrey was a whole nother different avenue for me. So I can do a lot of stuff that most people are not doing. And it's a Lowe's right down the street for me. So if I have anything in that area before I go to work, because I have 3 jobs. I do Uber, I do delivery, I'm a notary, I'm a jill of all trades, so I'm in a little bit of everything. I'm just trying to get out the rat race from the 9 to 5, so I do whatever I need to.
Yeah, I'm same here. I do a little bit of everything too. I do a little bit of construction. So when stuff is slow, I just hit up my buddy like, "Yo, you need somebody to put up drywall or whatever." I'm here.
Right. I did the same thing. So what I do is I have a kitchen and cabinetry cabinet company that I partner with, and I had them. Oh wow! Did I freeze? I think I froze
for a little bit, but you good.
Okay. All right. So that's the computer's getting tired, so it's time for us. But no. So I got a kitchen and cabinet company here in the Bay Area. They pay me $1,000 per delivery. But the problem is they only do deliveries once a month. But that's okay. You get what I mean? Because like that's $1,000 supplemental income every month. That's $12,000 a year. I know guarantees going to come to me. And sometimes they even have 3 deliveries in a month or 4. So then that's icing on top of the cake. So having the ability to have multiple streams of revenue coming in simultaneously, that's the name of the game. And so that's what we got to do. That's what this forum is for. This is what the platform is for. Not to only depend on Lowe's and One Rail, but to add to it, because I actually can add customers to the platform. So if we go out, we find a customer that is a good, reputable customer that we know we can depend on. We can have them, do a contract with us, give us exclusivity, and then we can add them onto the platform and dispatch out to our network. And then I even go a little step further for my real go-getters and real partners in the business. I'll allow you to build a platform within the platform. So then you can bring people on, team members on, and you can get paid off of them doing deliveries. So, but we can't put the cart before the horse. We got to first get this completion ratio up, run these numbers up. And then when we start getting the business, then we can go and build teams. And then that way you can go and do what you're doing, Nevin, whatever else you want to do. And then you have people under you doing deliveries, either in your own vehicles or their own vehicles. But it's passive income. And what we would do is basically sign them up under you. They would have their own login credentials to the app. They would have their own, your number would be associated with that person. And when we dispatch, we will dispatch it to you. You'll get that dispatch notification with the base rate and all that. Then you dispatch it to your downline. And then they go out and do a delivery. So like we send it to you for 30, you send it to them for 25 if they're on their own vehicle. I mean, even if you're making $5, man, that's passive income being added on. You know,
That part.
it all adds up at the end of the day. So hey, man, you guys are the best. I appreciate you guys. I'm glad you guys showed up and showed out, man.